Good morning. Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School, day 2 of the fencing project. So as you can see, we got, in some of these places there was 5 strands of wire. We got them all off yesterday. And so I contacted a fella, and I got a guy coming in to bush hog the field. And he came out and looked at it, and so he has a deal on the front end of his tractor. He said he could pull all these T-posts. And so we're going to pull the T-post when he gets here. He's actually not coming till tomorrow. 2 reasons we're pulling the T-post. Number one, with the T-post gone, he can mow, all the way to the edge, he can mow clean. But the other reason is some of these T-posts are backwards. For the novices in the fencing, let's see, Mama, if you want to come around here and show this. T-posts have these buttons on one side. Now, if you're fencing stuff in, your T-posts need to be turned so the buttons are on the inside. The purpose of the buttons is when you put your fence here, it keeps the fence, if something lays on it, from just sliding down. Well, part of these T-posts are proper, they're turned, but some of them are turned out. It's just sloppy and careless, and we're going to do things right. So we're going to pull the fence out and put the fence back in the way that it should be. The other thing is some of these fence posts are further apart than I like. I prefer to have them a bit closer. And so we're going to pull it out. We're going to mow everything really good, and then we're going to put the T-posts back in and put them all in proper. Okay, so we're going to do that. And again, I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to get post. This is a corner post. Now, I'm sure this has been here for years, but this is not acceptable. And I'll show you as we do it, but I'm going to put H-brace here and that way. And I'll show you as we go along. So this has got to come down, and then we're going to go down here. There's some more fencing down here, and we're going to go down and see what we have down there. All right, so we're walking down the back side of the pasture. This is something you always got to be on the lookout for. You're always going to find loose, rusty strands or barbed wire. They got to be pulled and they got to be coiled up. But I was talking yesterday about the woven wire. So I found a stretch of probably 100 feet of woven wire in the trees. Now I was talking, you see the squares? Now they make woven wire of all different, of several different sizes of the holes that are in between. Some are like 4-inch by 4-inch. Some will be the 4-inch by the 8-inch. There's several different ones. This is a big no-no with horses, okay? So let me show you why. Now, back in here, let's say this spot right here for horses, okay? So horses, when it gets super hot, this big tree, I think that's a poplar tree, is going to be leaved out. It's going to be super shady. And they're going to stand in here in the shade with their head down in the heat of the day, just dozing and resting. But there's going to be flies, and they're going to be stomping at flies. Now, it's not uncommon for a horse up against a woven fence, stomping at a fly to get a leg in one of these holes and get down in there. And when they do, it's not easy to get them out, especially if it startles them and they panic and they start jerking and they start pulling. They can get hurt pretty bad. Now, yes, if they're standing up against a wire fence, a smooth wire fence or a barbed wire fence, yes, they can kick and get a hoof down in there, but they can usually get it back out. But it's another reason why I don't like barbed wire on horses, because they can kick down in there and they can jerk it back out, and that barb can just run them all the way up, and it's just not necessary. So this is coming out. This is what I was talking about yesterday. No woven wire for horses. Okay. So as we move on down the fence, we find this right here. Now, this tells us something beyond what we see that we need to know, that we need to be aware of. You've always got to have the understanding that most horses are accident prone, okay? If you have a smooth board wall in a stall, I mean sanded, smooth, and there's one little nail head or screw head sticking out of that wall, you can bet your horse is going to find that, okay? If you have anything out, I mean, I've seen horses before, you could have a smooth mowed pasture and it'd be one rock that big in the middle pasture and the horse will trip over that rock. Some horses are just like that. So you have to always be on the lookout, and you always have to be aware. It's like children. Children will run out in the street. Children will touch a hot stove. You're always constantly watching children and looking out for their welfare because they don't have enough sense to do it themselves. There's horses out there that are like that. Now, we have wire that's broken, it's loose, and it's just out here, okay? But then we have fence that's up. Now, if you notice the fence that's up, this is fairly new. Well, no, it's not new, but it's not near as old as this stuff up here is. And you can't see it from there, but I looked on the back side of this tree, and the fence came in and was nailed to the tree, and some of the fence is really deep in the tree, and some of it's out on the edge of the tree. So what they did, somebody years ago came in and they had busted fence. Instead of cutting the old fence out, rolling it up, getting it out of the way and replacing it, they just put some strands of new fence to block the hole and left the old stuff down. Now what that tells me is they had a tendency to do that, and that I need to constantly be on the lookout out here for old rusty wire laying on the ground, laying in the grass, because they didn't have a tendency to clean it up. So I know that I need to be extra vigilant while I'm out here with my horses and always on the lookout for old rusty wire hanging off of tree limbs, out in the grass, in the weeds, half buried in the dirt. Because I got to look after the horses, and things were not done right. There's going to come a time after you're gone, somebody's going to come behind you. Somebody's going to come behind you. Now, when I was a whole lot younger, I worked with another couple young guys in construction, building new construction, and we would put our initials on the inside studs of the walls, you know, or Dwayne was here up in the bird boxes we did for the rafters, or just whatever. Somebody's going to come along years down the road and they're going to have to repair or rebuild or remodel. Don't leave a legacy behind you that people come and look at your work and just shake their head. All right? There's nothing more. What does the Bible say? That a man's good name is, I forget how it says it. It's above rubies or something. I mean, your most valuable thing is your reputation, your good name. And your reputation is not always make or break while you're there. Sometimes it comes after you're gone. Sometimes your kids or your grandkids will face the results of what you left behind, that people come and find it. And so when you go to build fence, along anything else, anything you do it right. Do it right. Okay? Well, let's go see what else we can find. All right. Went around the rest of the property. That last deal we talked about, that's the last of the fencing that we have to deal with. Rusty came out and did the bush hogging. As you can see, along the edge there, I had said he was going to be able to pull the post out and then mow clean. Well, when he got here, the tool that he had for his front bucket wasn't working, and he couldn't do that. And so he bush hogged, but he left this fence row in here. And so we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Now, like I said, some of these T-posts are backwards, and we're going to pull them out and put them back in straight. So I went and picked up a tool today. This is a T-post puller I got at Tractor Supply. If you're not familiar with it, now folks are going to get on here, and that's good, and say there's all kinds of tricks that you can do it without buying this tool, and there is. I've done it. If you've got a a ATV, you can take a rope or a piece of chain and run from the bumper of your ATV to the bottom of the post, and you can put a tire under that chain, or you can put an angled piece of wood, a block of firewood, and as you back up, pull the post out. Well, I don't have an ATV, and I'm getting too old to want to dink with all that stuff. Now, if I was on the back side of a ranch somewhere and I had to get a post out, then I would do something like that. But you know, you learn after a while that the right tool just makes the job. If you got several to do, the right tool makes the job so much easier. So I picked up a puller today because we're going to pull some posts. So the puller is this. It's got this U in here, and you just lift the handle up and bring this into your T-post. Bring that into your T-post. And just pick it up. Just pick it up. No ATV, no tire. Just pull it out of the ground. And that's it. So we're going to do these and get things ready. And then next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be digging holes and setting posts. So this was number 2 of the series. We'll do number 3 of this building deal. We'll start doing posts. And so anyhow, this is Dwayne, Dry Creek Runner School. Hope you liked it. Click like if you did. Subscribe if you haven't. And maybe hit share and send it on to somebody else you know who's starting to build their first fence. And as we go along, together we might learn a little something. All right? So we'll catch you next time.